How's it been getting the guys back up to speed after this break?
Yeah, I think it's been a really good week. I think we've wanted to apply a lot of our principles and just to dial up the intensity a little bit, because obviously when you go away for a number of days, you kind of sort of come down psychologically, mentally, physically, and now to ramp that back up is always not an easy challenge, right? So we don't have 6 weeks of preseason. We had like 7-8 days of a mini intense preseason, I would say, like a condensed periodization to get the guys in optimal shape. And I think we've done a pretty good job. We traveled to Atlanta last weekend, had some vital minutes there against a really good team. And come back this week with Austin in mind.
It seems almost silly to say it because these are issues of 3 weeks ago, but scoring goals, you had a lot of goals off set pieces, but goals out of the run of play.
3 against Atlanta, which was really good, So really good phases of play, really good moments, We tried a few tactical tweaks and different formations, and I thought it was a really good exercise. And to get some of the run of play action going again, even this week, some of the final third entries, and it's been really good. The boys are committed to it, and it's good to see guys fit and healthy and competing for places. And then you can see it just when there's competition, then the quality just starts rising. So, happy about the week.
And then we're joined in the room by Joakim, Nielsen, and Nökkvi Þórisson. What's our situation look like for this weekend?
Yeah, it looks really good. Just about everyone's game ready or game eligible, roster ready. So, Klaus, it's probably a week too soon, or we'll see how the next week goes. But, everyone else is roster ready. So, Nökkvi's come in. He has a good baseline. He's very fit. He's very aggressive in his actions, just what we like, And Joakim's been progressing. He's had those City 2 minutes were very vital for him and had some really good successful moments, right? So, and that's what, after a long injury, you need a lot of confidence. And, I think Joakim's been building on that confidence, and he's confident around the group. He's a great leader, and he's a great person. So to have him around with our group now, I think it's worth its weight in gold for us, and just to have his aura, his presence. He's a real locker room guy, and if we can have him in that roster and be part of the group and game ready, game eligible, I think it only makes us better.
Coach, with the time away from the games, were you able to, or did you care to reflect about what's happened so far, or are you just still focused on the next game?
Yeah, I think looking backwards, it's okay. But I don't want to get sort of caught in those thoughts, right? Because then you get caught in what has been. And the minute you get caught up in those thoughts, the world stands still and people catch you up. So I think we're always looking a step ahead. We're always trying to plan ahead. And I think that's been a sort of modus operandi from day one, is to try and be one step ahead and to try and look for the next game, not the next 10 games, and not think what was great the first 5 games, And I think during that journey, there's a lot of challenges that you get thrown and a lot of obstacles along your way, and you're dealing with different question marks, and human beings go through different emotions and different points in their lives. So, we've had a mini sort of look and an outlook on what the last 7 months have been like, for sure. And it's been great, but the season's not over. We can't really celebrate anything just yet, and we have to stay focused. Most of all, we have to stay hungry, and within our groups, we have to stay competitive.
Kind of touched on that topic. You had that great line earlier about it was a fairy tale, then it became business as usual. Now that you're kind of starting again this down the stretch, how have you seen the league's perception change of this team as a competitor, and is it different kind of starting this stretch of games than when folks didn't know much about what you guys did and who you guys were?
I think if you've seen, obviously, it's almost. It's unwanted in terms of what we're trying to get out of the opponent, right? We're just trying to pitch up and play our way, right? But when you play edgy, physical, fast, dynamic, quick, if the other team's not prepared and ready to compete for that, then it becomes a problem, right? So teams are now really doing their homework, and they've done their homework, but now they're playing with the edge. So I get the feeling we bring out the best of a lot of teams, right? Because stylistically, it's always a contrast, and we do something different. And when you get teams that value certain principles, and those, it's like oil and water, they don't mix, right? So I feel we always get the best version of every team, that whether we playing away or we hosting teams here at CITYPARK. So it's always uncomfortable. It's always good for us because we can never take one moment of pause and relaxed, right? So if we don't, we get found out really. If we do, we get found out really quickly. So for us, it's just, we just want to rinse and repeat what we are doing and focus on us and making sure that, we're staying true to who we are and we're not trying to adapt and evolve for anybody else.
Hey, Coach. When you have players like Joakim, Nielsen, like Joe Klaus, who have missed large periods of time throughout the season, but obviously play a big portion of the team, both in their auras and in their leadership qualities, how important is it for you to have them still involved in the team and just for them especially to still be around and be in the environment?
Yeah, well, you're hoping for a push, right? And obviously we signed 2 players in this window, but we got back Edu Löwen 2 weeks ago or what have you. Is out for a number of weeks. We're getting Klaus back in. He's been gone for a couple of months, right? So these guys are almost like new signings again. So it's just pushing everyone up. And in that time, everybody else has developed. Everyone else has grown. Everyone else has built up confidence, scored goals, made contributions, right? So, and it makes me happy and proud, for the club to say this is who we stand for and that's what we are, right? So, and we didn't waver from day one, right? And obviously we made a way. We found a way to make things work, and we were challenged for sure, and it wasn't perfect for sure. And we always seem to, find a way. And here we are, match day 24, I believe, going into. So just thinking that, it's in our hands and we control where we want to go. But it's by no means an easy ride. And the next 3 points are the most important.
Next we'll go to John Lupo.
Bradley, you mentioned that you brought in a couple of players. Nökkvi in particular, it seems like he fits the profile of not just a typical St. Louis City player, but he seems like a complete player. He's good on the counterattack. He's very good in one-on-one situations. He seems to excel in set pieces, which is something you guys are extremely strong at. But he also seems like he's 6'2", so he's very physical. Do you feel like that he sort of offers a change of pace as compared to the skill sets of the other midfielders that you have?
Yeah, John is in the room. Yeah, you're giving him a big head. You've mentioned so many great things. John, you've seen so many good things that we've seen too, right? And he does. He offers, a complete package. It's going to take some time to get into the style of play, but when you get a player who's aligned in so many of the principles, then that time, just shortens quite somewhat. So, the biggest thing is getting him up to speed, not just physically, of which he has a really good baseline, and we feel we can plug him straight away. He's got the physical capacity to go straight away, and he's worked hard in the couple of weeks that he was, waiting for his visa and getting travel ready and what have you. So, but having him in here this week, I spent time with him, showing him video and showing him stylistically what we're trying to do, and also just connecting with him just to see how he, where does he see himself, the best version of himself. Where can we put him on the field for him to succeed? So we chatted about a few things, and it just opens up my mind as well. And now seeing him on the field, now we can start to sort of get creative and see where we can best fit him in and when to plug him in. So it's been really good, and he can score goals, and he's aggressive against the ball too, right? He loves to defend, he loves to run back, he loves to cover ground, and those are some of the profiles that are not the easiest to coach, and he does those instinctively. So it's good to have him in our ranks.
Next we go to Matt Baker.
Hey, Coach. The last few games, especially, all season really, it seems like your attacking formations, 2 up front, 1 up front, you kind of have a surplus now going with Klaus returning, with Nökkvi available now. How do you see kind of the time splitting out with this group?
Yeah, listen, I think it's all very competitive, and I think it's all very form dependent, and I think it's all very, it keeps guys on their toes, right? And it just keeps things, I think the best times you get the best out of most people is when, there's no room for error. There's zero margin for error, right? So, for sure, in the coaching staff and in training routines and that, if you make a mistake, we believe in the next play mentality, but when you're on the field of play and you have guys breathing down your throat, usually that propels you to succeed, that propels you. If you get that chance, you have to keep it and just earn an honest day's living, right? And knowing that there's guys breathing it down my neck, and usually that lifts up the whole quality, right? So I've seen it so many times in the most successful teams and competitive teams. I've been a product of that myself, being part of a very good Stuttgart Bundesliga team who finished second, and I played a part role, but I knew I'm training every day as best as I can to push those guys, because if they make one mistake, I'm in. And that's the mentality we're trying to instill in the group, just to make sure that everyone's ready, everyone's competing, everyone's training hard, and everyone knows this project, this picture is way bigger than any one of ourselves as an individual, right? We see this as like a holistic product. We spoke about day one. St. Louis has a legacy, St. Louis has a history, and this is what we're trying to achieve, right? So far, we're on track for that. Now we have to make sure and keep the players aligned that they're on track for something way bigger than themselves.
And then go back to Tom Timmerman.
Hey Bradley, how's it going? I'm just wondering, how has your team embraced being the ones that are being chased, being the ones that are being hunted down at the top of the Western Conference, whereas in the beginning of the season you guys maybe sprung up on teams kind of out of nowhere?
Yeah, I think we haven't seen complacency from day one. I think this team drives itself on trainings after 2 days off, after a day off, after 8 days off. This team gets back to work, and already the competition is high. Already the edginess is high. Already there's demand for success. So this team kind of propels each other and drives each other without even looking at the opponents. So for us, we rarely think about the opponent. We rarely think about what's below us or above us. We just want to do our job. And the very next game is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow one more time as an individual, as a player, as a team, as well as to put points on the board. And we know at the end of the season, all the points get tallied up, and then we know, are we above the line? Are we below the line? Are we got a home playoff match? Don't we have a home playoff match? So, I said earlier, it's in our hands, and that's a good thing. The ability to do what this team has done so far, and been thrown a lot of curveballs, just shows that principles are intact and we have a good team chemistry.
We'll wrap up Coach's segment with Tom.
Two things. One, Joakim did, 70 minutes in the last City 2 game? Does that mean he could start enough minutes, or does he kind of have to reset as he goes to the MLS level as he moves up?
Yeah, I think, the demands at City 2 and the demands at an MLS game are slightly different, right? But the more he gets confidence in his body, I think the more he would like to get those minutes in the MLS. So again, it's a progression, right? So take into account the journey that he's had over 14 months now, or what have you, and to get what he's done and accomplish what he's done, and to gain the confidence, contribute in meaningful ways at City 2, score 2 goals, and now gets him ready. Whether we use him for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, or to start him, he's able to do everything.
And what was the value of that win at Austin on opening day? What did that mean for this club? You guys had confidence coming into that game. What did it mean to win that game?
Yeah, I think the first win of something is always a special one, right? I think the first of anything. You remember your firstborn, your first love, whatever, I don't know. You remember the first of you remember, right? So just to get that first win and almost to relieve the pressure, because some teams you might not, in a very tricky environment in Austin, you might lose that game, then you have to come home and it's almost a must perform. And then you never know how that might go with the pressures of playing at home, right? So we've accomplished those things and then some, right? And created a bit of history along the way. So, I think the very first game, emotionally for me privately, was incredibly emotional. I think the players felt it too. So, and again, once that emotions and the weight's off your shoulders, now you can just operate business as usual. So for us, that was the sort of message after that game.
Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Tom, we welcome to the stage Joakim Nielsen, our first time up here as a match presser, so be gentle with him. All right, kick us off.
I'm sure you'll handle this with no trouble, Joakim. How do you feel? You've waited as long as anybody. You've been a long time coming. How's it feel to think you're finally going to get out there?
Yeah, like you said, I've been waiting for almost 15 months now, so it's been a while. Therefore, I'm just happy every time I'm able to be out on the field with the guys. It's been a long journey, and it's still gonna be a long way to go to finally get back and even better, like fitness-wise and where I was before. But I'm on a good way, and I start to feel way better, so I'm just happy.
How does your knee feel? Because it seems like there have been play on it, then you need to take a little bit of a break. How was
Yeah,
the game?
I mean, a rehab after a surgery like this, it's up and down. It's a roller coaster, you know. But now I come to a point where I know my body. I know how it responds after trainings, after games, and what to do with it. But at this moment today, I feel very good. I had played those 2 games, which was very good for my confidence to know where I'm at. I mean, it's one thing to train, another thing to play. And as you know, I had a minor thing with drained the knee, but now I'm at it again. So this week has been good, and I knock on wood, I hope it continues like that.
And just how's it been watching all these games all this time?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Absolutely, to watch them. Obviously, frustrating also to not be able to be part of it. But I'm one of those guys that I'm just happy for the guys, what they've done so far. But I want to be part of that journey also, on the field, not outside the field.
What have you learned about this group of guys you're playing with by watching them?
Learn that a group of individuals that a few might know each other from before, but most of them they didn't know each other from before, and to work hard as a collective can show good things on the field. That is one thing I have. I mean, from the very first beginning, like a short time on the preseason, and being able to do good stuff on the field. That's one thing that really impressed me from the very first beginning. So yeah, I would say that as number one.
With your unique perspective on this season so far, when Bradley talks about the competition that has been in the team to get the best product, sometimes that is negative on a team to have guys competing for playing time or spots, but it seems to make this team better. What's your view of how that's played out and how that's maybe helped this team put its best out there despite maybe not always having all of its pieces at the same time?
Yeah, like Coach said, I think that environment, if you want to be successful, you have to have that. I mean, we see top teams, top players that don't play, but the only thing you can do is to prove that you're the guy who should play. And I think we got that mentality in this group. And I mean, once you accept that, I mean, then you keep working harder. And like Coach says, eventually you will get your chance. And I think everybody's been ready from day one, no matter if you started the first 5 games or you came up, you sat on the bench the first 5 games. So once you played, you've been doing well out there. So I think a competitive group is never negative. I mean, of course, you're gonna have players that might be pissed off that they don't play, but I mean, that's the business, right? That's the game.
Hi, I remember when you were running around the field before you were training, and we heard a lot about you right here in this room about your leadership off the field. And when you were able to train again, Coach Carnell was very excited to work. You said, I got to know him off the pitch, but now I get to know him on the pitch. How has it been for you getting to know Coach Carnell on the pitch?
Yeah, I kind of seen him from the gym. It's not too far away from the training pitch. So, but obviously now he can help me with my game. I mean, I still want to improve. I still need to get to know. I mean, it's one thing to see outside the field, and now to be on the field. Obviously, I want him to help me to do good things with this club. So it's better to know him on the field than off the field. Yeah.
Joakim, how important was it for you, with kind of the ups and downs that come with a long extended injury break, to be around the team and be around the locker room and just be around that environment in general?
Yes, I mean, you have to split it into two parts. I think one thing is that obviously frustrating to not be able to. They go out, they have fun every day they share emotions out on the field, and you kind of you don't really know what happens out there. They come in the locker room, and you're the guy you're the rehab man. Now obviously that is frustrating, but it's mentally also very important for me to really appreciate. I mean, now when I come back, to be able to go out there and enjoy it with them. Now I forgot what was the question. What did you?
No, just how important was it to be like around just the aura of the group?
Yeah, I mean, and that's also like they've been so supportive from day one. I mean, they knew that it was a big injury. It has taken a long time, but they've been so supportive, and that has been, I mean, appreciated so much. Yeah.
I know you've been around the group, but first being able to actually get on the pitch and actually start training and playing in the City 2 games in mid-season, how challenging has it been to be able to integrate yourself into the team systems here at mid-season?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's almost 15 months without being in under pressure with the ball, like moving around. It takes time to adapt again with the body, because neurological it's one thing also. But I mean, I needed it to get a good start, to just from the very first beginning. This is my preseason, and I have to be fit as possible. I've been trying to work as hard as possible outside the field, and now that I can join the guys on the field, I try to learn every day and try to stay focused and as prepared as possible. And I think, now I'll come to a part where I feel like I gain confidence, which is obviously important. And like I said, those minutes with the second team was also important to know that my body responds well in a game, not only on the training pitch.
Next we'll go to John Lupo, then Matt Baker.
Joakim, just if you can talk about, Bradley was mentioning that despite the fact of where you guys are in the standings, there's still a great hunger and a great desire to continue that and to just play the St. Louis way. How impressed have you been with just the competitive nature and the desire to keep on pushing forward and keep building on what you have, maintaining your lead in the West, and just achieving what you want through that everyday work ethic and that commitment that you've seen from the guys day in and day out?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen from day one that this competitive group was so hard to play against, and once we get the results, that's, you just want more, of course. We're obviously we're happy where we're at, but we're not satisfied. We want more, so that keeps us. Like I said, we want more. We want to reach the playoffs and do well in the playoffs, even if that's far ahead. But the fall is the thing, the part that's important in the MLS. So that drives us, and we want more.
Then we'll go to Matt.
Joakim, when you were first signed last year, you came with a lot of, I think, expectations to the fan base, given your success with both club and country. Do you feel any of those expectations now that you're able to come back and get on the pitch? And what are your expectations for yourself for the rest of the year?
No, I just focus on the expectation on myself. I mean, I've been out for such a long time now. My expectations is that I want to enjoy football again. That's number one. Obviously, like I said, it's going to take some time, and I have to embrace that and allow that to happen. I mean, it's not like I'm on the same level right now as I was. That would be strange if it was like that. So I just keep working hard, but expectations is just I just put pressure on myself. I don't feel the pressure from outside like that. So obviously I wanna do good in this club, and
How have you been spending your non-rehab time while you've been here in St. Louis?
Non-rehab time. Luckily, I got my family with me. They've been a big part of. I mean, obviously, there's been, like I said, a journey that I've many frustrating days, but like once I get home, I mean those thoughts are just erased because there's 2 kids back home waiting for me, and there's another workout back home. Either if it's Nintendo, if we play football or whatever. So that has been so important for me to just kind of knock those thoughts away from me once I open the door back home. So the family have been very important for me. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
And how good do you feel? How much could you play?
That's hard to tell. I mean, I feel good now, really good. I played 75 minutes with the City 2 game, and I felt fine, felt good. But I want to take it day by day now. We have to have this discussion now also with the medical staff, coach, and the doctors to see, where the limit is. But like I said, 75 minutes isn't bad for being away for almost 15 months, and I felt good, and I felt that I was in a pretty good form.
Joakim, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Nökkvi Þórisson, Icelandic midfielder. Tom,
Good pronunciation.
I learned.
I'm still working on the H. I was saying Thoresen too long. I've got to convert myself to saying Thoresen, but Nökkvi. Welcome to America. How's it been?
Yeah, it's been very welcoming. The club has been so welcoming to me, and it's my first time here in the US, and so far so good.
Was this something you had ever thought about? Was Major League Soccer on your radar in any way?
I've been watching it from a distance and watching how the league has been growing. So when the call came and I had the meeting with Bradley and Lutz, it was almost a no-brainer when we finished the phone call, because seeing what's happening here and how much growth is going on, and players going back to Europe in the big 5 leagues, it's a very exciting environment to grow as a player. So yeah, it was an easy decision.
How do you feel about hot weather?
Yeah, I've gotten used to it relatively quickly. So they told me it was gonna be worse in the next week, so I've been lucky with the weather until now. So yeah, not too bad.
And Bradley was saying that your fitness test, you were off the charts. He was saying some of it might have been adrenaline, but how much work were you doing to stay in shape after the Belgian season ended, and how do you feel?
Yeah, I just came out of preseason when I was working on my visa in Iceland, so I was in really good shape, and I just kept it going there, like worked hard, and fitness is something that I never had any issues with, so that's something that I'm lucky with, I guess.
Nökkvi, I'm amazed at how well both of you guys speak English. You understand? I mean, it's amazing. When did you start to learn English?
In Iceland, you start it in 5th class, but television and all that is in English, but we have like subtitles. So if you come to Iceland, you have most of the people there speak real good English. So it's and in Joakim, so in Sweden it's just exact the same. So that's the reason why we speak it so good.
Yeah, but you guys speak like Americans, not English.
I wouldn't take it so far, but maybe in 1 or 2 years I'll be like you guys.
You already are.
Couple questions. We hear a lot about the practice sessions here and how they really bring out the best in guys, and that's been attributed to a lot of the success. What's been your taste of how competitive practices are and how they have maybe helped this team find its identity?
Yeah, just straight away the first session, it was very intense, very competitive, we were in chaos, like Coach Bradley calls it. So it was very intense. It was a good thing to experience on the first day, because I had some ideas of how the trainings were, but coming into the first training session, it was just you could see why the team is doing so well, because each training session is so intense and everybody giving their best, so they always raise the level for each other. So that's what I really love about the training sessions here.
And then, if you could, Lutz is such an interesting figure. I'm curious what it was like to be sold on City SC by Lutz and Bradley on that call, and what he told you about what's going on here. You're obviously aware of it if you've been following the league, but how did he kind of explain what this phenomenon has been like here this season?
Yeah, he basically just said like what's going on here, how many players are going back to Europe, how with Messi coming in obviously was a big change to the league, and it raised the league to a whole nother level. We have the World Cup in 2026, so that will also raise the league to a whole nother level. So, and the league is getting real competitive. So it's very high ranked now in the world. So that was also one of the reasons why I took the step. And then just the way Bradley and Lutz spoke to me, like they want to develop me exactly what I want for my next step to be. They want to help me take the next step, become a better player, and yeah, at the end of the day, it was an easy decision after the meeting.
We'll go to John Lupo.
Nökkvi, first of all, welcome to St. Louis.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you spoke to Bradley and you spoke to Lutz. We see the style of play that they have and the success that the team has had, but when you speak to Bradley specifically, what excites you the most about maybe just the way he, as you described with the training sessions, runs that, his style of play, just maybe the overall vision for the organization? What excited you the most about coming to the organization and speaking with Bradley and speaking with Lutz?
Yeah, obviously when I spoke with them, they were first in the league, so I saw what they were doing. It worked. I saw some games, I saw some highlights, and it's a team that scores a lot of goals. It's a transition team, which suits me very well. It suits my profile very well. So it sort of that excited me a lot. So like the ideas that Bradley had, they are exactly like we think football alike, me and Bradley, I think. So that helped me a lot with the decision, and yeah, it helped definitely to see that the team was in first place and doing real well. So coming into a team that's on a good run, doing good, that helped the decision, and I was probably most excited about that. Yeah.
Next we go to Matt Baker.
Nökkvi, welcome to St. Louis. Bradley mentioned your match fit. You've mentioned that you've stayed in shape since your preseason, and you've mentioned the intensity of the training. But I'm curious how you're acclimating to the system and the overall principles that Bradley is instilling. Is it something you're familiar with, a lot of the high pressing, high intensity on the field, or is that something that you're acclimating to?
No, it's something that I'm familiar with from my previous club. We were also a high pressing team, and we played in a slightly different system, but the principles, Bradley has been going over them with me. Before yesterday we had a meeting going over every principle, going over style of play, going over everything. So he's been making sure I'm settling in nice and fastly, so it's been going really well.
How big a change is this for you? I mean, Belgium, probably not, different from Iceland, but not that different. St. Louis seems probably really different. How big a change is this for you?
Yeah, it's definitely a different culture here. So moving from Iceland to Belgium, it was bigger, but like culture-wise, it wasn't that much of a shock. But we in Iceland, we are sort of like a lot of things we have is actually from America. So we know a lot of stuff we see in the store here. So, but the culture is different. But I really like the culture here. So it's been a nice kind of different.
You were training in Iceland pre-season. So were you training with the club?
So I was in pre-season with my previous club, and when the transfer happened, I went to Iceland to finish my visa, and luckily I have an old club there that allowed me to train with them non-contact. So that's the way I stayed fit, like football-wise, because it's one thing to keep you fit just by running, but then you come into football, it's completely different with the short steps, with the short movements and all that. So that helped me a lot, staying match fit or as fit as possible.
So you're with Beerschot in Belgium, and then went back to your old club.
Yeah.
In
And-
Iceland.
and-
How
and-
long had you been into camp at that point?
In Belgium, we were already 3 weeks,
Oh, okay.
3.5 weeks into camp, and we had like 5 games because preseason is pretty. It's tough in Europe. Because it's short and high intensity.
So you actually got in some games?
Yeah, I
In
got
Belgium?
in. Yeah, I got in. I think it was four games.
Oh. So that would
22
explain why you were fit and ready
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, could be.
And how's it just been? I mean, as your family's back in Iceland still. You've been like in a hotel room. What's it been just like, I don't know, making friends? You know, not sitting around a room by yourself.
I mean, the club is so welcoming. The guys in the locker room are so friendly. They're so welcoming and open to new guys. So it's been really easy for me to settle in, and the staff and all those guys, they've been so lovely and so welcoming. So it has just been a very good experience for me so far from the club side. So I can't wait to meet the fans. I can just imagine.
Had you met and crossed paths with any of these guys anywhere?
No, but I know some of them. Like I knew Joakim from where he was playing, and from because he's a national from Sweden. I knew Berkey and those guys just from watching football in Europe. Yeah, but not personally.
What have your new teammates told you about home games here at City Park?
Everyone has said the same thing. It's electrifying. So I think they said almost the whole stadium stands the whole time. At least 10,000 people stand the whole time. So I've heard a lot of good things about it, and electrifying. I've heard.
Nökkvi, thank you for joining us. We appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
I appreciate you.
I would be remiss to say thank you, Kobe, for